everybody, Dan here for Argo Comics, where we do not just publish independent comics, we support independent comics. I have a stack of independent comics coming your way today. Last time, video cut out, so if that happens again, I will resume with another video. I've been having some computer issues where that's been happening. So again, I'll get through whatever I can get through here. And then if it cuts out, we'll just continue it because there is a lot of indie books to get to. First of all being Juice Man number 9. Chicago's Beefiest Hero. Okay. There are the credits. I don't always go through all the names because I butcher them. But you can freeze frame that. Scott James is the creator of Juice Man. And I have all the issues thus far. I think Scott's style has a bit of a like Eric Larson vibe going, which perhaps led to him doing the backup stories he's done in the actual Savage Dragon comic book. So, yeah, a lot of really great art. Colors are great as well. I mean, letters, the whole production value really works well. And it's been a great story so far. So overall, I'll recommend Juice Man, where you also get some sketchbook type stuff in the back. And yeah, I do believe he has the next Juice Man 10 coming. So we had an ad for that in here. Yeah, so that's on Kickstarter. Usually you can follow a creator like Scott James, or you can look up the book by title, and then it'll take you to the past campaigns, and then you could just hit follow and get books from anyone that you particularly like on Kickstarter. And speaking of Kickstarter, let's see. There it is. Got to open this bag. Let's see, we got Stain number 3. Okay, this is, I guess, a virgin cover by Tim Tyler, great indie creator whose work I follow. People who've watched the past indie monster hauls know this. And there's an old property of his, Ravage, that I guess is part of Stain and coming to Kickstarter. So this, I believe, is an anthology. There's the creators on that page. So there's a lot of stories, and again, the video would run very long if I'm reading all these. Yeah, of those names, yeah, I see a few I recognize, but of course, Tim Tyler's involved. And again, I've had a number of pinups from him for Argo Comics. So that's really a big draw for me here for Stain. Badlands was his first story. I think it's all very good art. Throughout this book. The Devil's Pawn. That's our second story, showing you the art styles here. I think Tim's art's in the third. Just making sure what we got is kind of safe for work. And yeah, there's, like I said, a number of stories. I showed you the credits. So that would be for you. If you want to go back and look at the associated talent behind these stories. Okay, so we got black and white here. For those who really appreciate good inking, a lot of times you prefer that. Let's see, a little bit not safe for work stuff in the back here. This Chaz Trog, this story in the back, reminds me a little bit of Tim's style. No, here's something we could show. There's another story at the end. So all throughout, you know, it's kind of a horror book. And if you're enjoying that, then I think you'll enjoy this book. Let me see. Forget a publisher name. Phantom Press. And publisher Michael Joseph. I've seen him online, but I never had to pronounce the name. Bockelman. He even has a story in here, I believe, that he illustrated, the second one. So he's also involved in publishing the book. The artist who did this. So, yeah, definitely worth looking up. You look up Stain Kickstarter, and then in Kickstarter, and then you'll find his work. All right, now I got two books from New Pain. I think it's New Pain Productions. New Pain. The Defense. And yeah, I guess I got a business card, kind of like Lawyers for Supervillains, I believe. Yeah, I read the description and looked at the sample art. I do all that, and that leads me to backing or not backing, because this was a Kickstarter. I think they had one book on Kickstarter, one book on Indiegogo. And I think for backing them both, you got a bonus book, which I have to check to see if I have that. Because I did back both. And I thought, like I said, that this looked very good. Leo Rodriguez, if this is the same Leo Rodriguez who drew some pages for me in Argo 5, I believe it is. So he drew this story. Yeah, I like the design of that character. Yeah, so overall, book is looking good. Got a little courtroom disturbance there. Not the type of thing you'd see on Night Court, the television show, but this is a comic book, so you need a little action. Dan Fielding would not be prepared for that. All right. Yeah, so we had this book. Again, the defense. But then, I'll chuck this back in here. Then I had backed for Daybreak trade paperback. Okay, both of these, I believe, yeah, Keith Champagne writing. Here's a print that came. Says West. I think it looks like Kevin West art. I really like his art. Let me open this one up. Daybreak. Okay, and again, I looked at the art and the previews. I read the synopsis. It all looked very good. So here it is. You know, picked it up. Yeah, I like this. They give you the covers that appeared on the issues. I do that in the Argo 5 trades. Yeah, so kind of tough to get the lighting on it, but I can't like rip it open and break the spine. But yeah, overall, it looked like good superhero science fiction material. I thought the art was very good. Colors look great. So overall, it was a purchase. Yeah, so New Pain. Let me see if it says it on the inside. If I see. Yeah, I was right. New Pain Productions. So they just don't have the productions on the front. Oh, credits. Let's see. Can I find the credits? I don't see the credits. I know it's Keith Champagne. I'm guessing this is the writer-artist right at the top here. Keith doing the writing, Stefan doing the art. So yeah, again, one was Indiegogo, I believe, or yeah, I think one was Indiegogo, one was Kickstarter. I have to look through my messages to double check what the free book was when you back both. But New Pain Productions, I guess you can look that up on Kickstarter and follow them. I had 2 issues come in of YEET. Okay, YEET, we were all on Kickstarter books and Indiegogo. This is now Patreon. You just give $5 an issue. They charge you whenever the new issue is ready. This is $65. I think 64 was the Western issue, and then this was maybe a Western leftover. It's usually a flip book. We have another cover back here. Silver and Steam. Susie Steam being one of the characters. Let's see. Yeah, well, maybe they just have 2 stories. It's an anthology, but there's the credits for this story. Okay, I believe it's 2 creators of the 2 characters swapping on who, maybe swapping, yeah, there's one artist did 6 pages, and the other artist did the other 6 pages. So you get a change of art styles in the story, which even the big two do that. You'll see issues that are broken down to different artists. We also had this Wayfarers by Doug Curtis. Okay, and a lot of times YEET is in black and white, but this issue's in color. Yeah, he has a story about a knight back here, and then the book flips. So it flips to this side. And yeah, the credits are in panel 1 there. Let's see. So it's a Western story. Western. And he usually runs a letters page, which is a dying breed out there in the comics world. Jimmy Rocket Boy. This looks very detailed in the art and the backgrounds. So that is some quality stuff. I like it. Really like that. Yeah, I don't see the credits. Let's see, sometimes people put credits at the end of a story, but I don't see it. So, oh, this inside cover is by Michael T. Gilbert of Mr. Monster fame. So it's pronouncing that YEET loves comic shops. Hopefully comic shops love YEET and carry some extra issues. Maybe there are some in the vicinity of where YEET is produced. There's another 2-page little story in the back. I also had gotten YEET 66. Again, a flip book, so you got 2 different covers here. This was Captain Flash, I believe. The Return of Captain Flash, which I flipped through this. The art was really, really very good. So there's your credits. I thought this was really, really good art. Okay, they went back to black and white for this issue. Then we had The Widow. There's the credits on The Widow. Steve Shipley doing that story. I'm going to look at the art. The letters column. We flip it over at that point. After that, Second City Sentinels, which is a bit of a super team. I like that they have a roll call on the inside cover there. Tell you who's who. They're all sitting there at the table. I always like a super team, so that's cool. And then we got a little story of Wolverine McAllister, who was created by William Mesner Loebs. Okay. Who is a pretty well-known creator. I don't know if that's focusing in. But, yeah, he did this. Let me just show this full cover. That's Wolverine McAllister, and that's barely facing off with a bear. Hopefully he does as well as Davy Crockett did when he was only 3. Let's see. Then we have kind of a silent story here. And we have a pinup by Kent Clark. I believe he's a friend of Wayne Bruce. And that is YEET 66. At the top of the show, I forgot to mention that we still do have our own Kickstarter going on for Global Impact. So I'll put the link in the show notes here. Global Impact is my own Argo Comics Impact International, facing off with Nigel Flood's Globalist from his Punt Press imprint. So people may know Nigel from Celtic Clan. He's an Irish creator. So this is an international battle that's going on in the comic, and it's an international group of creators bringing you the comic. So the art is by Jardel Cruz, who's in Brazil. Tio Pinheiro did the colors. Francisco Zamora did the letters. So it's really a great team we assembled. We have variant covers by Alan Goldman, who did Superman and JLA. Variant cover by Bill Mouse, who did Nera X, as well as our own Argo Comics Sorority of Power. So it's a really great campaign thus far. We're trying to hit stretch goal number 2 to get stretch goal number 3. So stretch goal number 2 already gave you a couple free digital comics. We have stretch goal number 3, which will give you more free digital comics. So you can go to Kickstarter, search Global Impact. Again, I'll have the link in the show notes for you all to check that out. Continuing with our books that we picked up. I picked up Maui Mighty Comics, Hawaiian Comics Relief. Proceeds go to Maui Relief, starring Mr. Mixit. Yeah, I mean, it was a worthy cause, so that brought me in as well, but I had seen Mr. Mixit before. I mean, with Stephen Butler art, it was really something that attracts me to that. There's the credits. We got a kind of an old Marvel bullpen nickname type of thing going there. There's Mr. Mixit. And Stephen Butler is just a phenomenal artist. Did a fair amount of work, I believe, Ash Cell, maybe back in the day. Marvel, of course. But yeah, I first remember, I guess, maybe Cat and Mouse or Demon, and then what was the other? Oh yeah, like Badger, I believe. So those are early on works that I could recall. Yeah, so then they have that character, Mr. Mixit. It looks like a mix of a few different characters. We have Captain Mercury. Oh, there are the credits there. And this one has a real great, what do you see on the art for the Golden Age public domain characters type style. So I really like that. It's kind of like a newly discovered even though it's not public domain, but that style. And then we have, I know, another story here. There, the credits. This is Ms. Molecule. She could shrink, I believe. You know, of course, for the past 16 years or so, I have a Miss Molecule in the sorority of power, who can control molecules to a certain extent. But, you know, these little one-offs, there is some names you'll see occasionally doubled up on indie comics. And, you know, for the most part, indie comics is not making anyone a fortune. So, when it comes to these, I'm sure if any of them blow up to be a big name property, that's when you kind of leave it alone. I try to do a Google search and some web searches to make sure whatever name I'm using is not used. But if they are, then, you know, on occasion, I mean, it would be more money for lawyers than you'll get, either party will get for publishing the book. So that's just something, again, if someone makes it a major property for themselves, then I guess if people feel that strongly, they can go to court. But otherwise, there's just going to be some overlap because there's only so many names. I put out a book through Thunderzone. A little bit later, Image came out with a book the same name. I only had 2 issues planned, and I don't think that book did well for them either. So to have lawyers go on 2 books that, you know, didn't get big notoriety, it just doesn't make sense. But the art on that looks very good. I like the concept. So I'll be interested to see that. Yang, Sea of Blood. The credits there for that. A little different style going here, kind of like that Sin City style, I think. Let's see. We got, yeah, black and white with some red, which I first recall it in Blood Rain from Tim Tyler's Fathom Press. Others have used it since. Oh, look at this. We got an ad. Looks like one of those fruit pie type things with Nature Boy, who, again, people who follow me know I have a great affinity for that public domain character, as I put out Nature Man, which updates the character and brings them into the present, while not ignoring the past. So Nature Boy still existed. But yeah, that's very cool. I like seeing that. And then we go back to Mr. Mixon. I have to read that Nature Boy, right, when we're done with this. It's only a 1-page thing. And yeah, a lot of these books I'm just flipping through for the first time during this video. So I got some surprises there. All right. Let's see how I do this. We have a trade paperback from Antarctic Press, who I followed for a long, long time. Ninja High School, Gold Digger. I had some of my own stories published in Exciting Comics for Antarctic Press. So I'm part of the team there. Let's see how I'll do this here. Because this is a kind of a not safe for work. Gold Digger, War Mistress of Mars. So Fred Perry, who did Gold Digger, 300 issues, him writing, drawing, I believe coloring, doing the whole bit, lettering. So now he has kind of a not safe for work mini-series that they collected here in trade. This is, I believe, yep, safe for work content for that mini-series. So he's a phenomenal creator. I love all his stuff. I've been tried to be a completist with all that Fred has done. Same thing, talking of been done. Pick up both their stuff and other various things through Antarctic Press that I'm really impressed with. I'll pick up. But this is, again, a trade paperback collecting this series. Let me see if there's extras in the back. Yeah, some sketch stuff that's really not suitable for YouTube. So here's a double page spread. It's got some type of like Skeletor looking villain. But anything Fred Perry does, the whole Gold Digger series, I will highly recommend. And yeah, he even did an animated movie where he did the art for that. So, man is a work beast. Okay, they reissued Youngblood. Youngblood Deluxe. And I believe they re-scripted part of it, so I was interested in that. The credits. Yeah, I was interested to see how it differed from the original. So I'll have to be giving this a read. I think I did this. I never published it, but I did see these characters stacked up like that. I did that for Argo 5 before I even published the book or whatever, thinking I would homage that for my credits page. I have the art somewhere, or at least a scan of it. But yeah, I believe it's been remastered, this book. I got number 2 as well. The deluxe edition. And I believe the credits are probably the same, just about. There's Profit. Yeah, but I believe it's been recolored, and yeah, it's looking very cool. Yeah, it's cool to reread the old ones, but it's also now cool to have a remastered, so you're getting something new when you're reading it with these colors and remastered scripting. Going into Dynamite Entertainment, Giant Size Wacky Races. Wacky Races was an old cartoon that I was very, very fond of, and I would watch it with all these various weird cars and weird characters driving those cars, And Dick Dastardly and Muttley would be kind of like the villains of the story. There's Dick Dastardly right there. I think that was a Mean Machine, perhaps. I know there was Peter Perfect and the Turbo Terrific. You had the Slag Brothers in the Boulder Mobile, Professor Pat Pending in the Converter Car. So you had all these crazy characters, crazy stories. And I think actually this Dastardly and Muttley and, well, she's on the cover, Penelope Pitstop, spun out into their own cartoon afterwards called The Perils of Penelope Pitstop, which involved Dastardly and Muttley as the villains, and her allies were another Wacky Racers car, the Anthill Mob, uh, who were supposed to be mobsters, or, more classic mobsters. But, yeah, so they did a Wacky Races series that kind of was apocalyptic or something, or post-apocalyptic. So I picked that up. I don't know how closer or further from Wacky Races this one is, but there's the credits if I didn't show it before. Yeah, they had this car that was a plane, the Baron, I'm trying to remember his name. I think Rufus Roughcut was my favorite at the time, in the Buzz Wagon, which had circular saws as wheels. Yeah, I'll have to see what this book is all about. It was instantly going to be bought, no matter what. I got this trade, Volume 3 of Geiger, which I'll admit I'm behind on that because I've been picking up the trades. You kind of know with the talents involved that you're going to pick it up regardless. Gary Frank, Paul Pelletier doing the art. They have the full credits. Jeff Johns writing. So yeah, I mean, yeah, some heavy hitters on this. Artist who I really appreciate. So that had me buying regardless. I mean, Paul Pelletier. He kind of reminded me, I brought this up on another show, of Dale Keown style, when Dale Keown was doing like Dragon Ring or Dragon Force. And Keown, when he started doing Pit, kind of changed a bit. Hulk, that type of stuff, kind of got a little more rendering and everything. And Paul Pelletier almost seemed to pick up where Dale Keown left off on Dragon Ring and Dragon Force, and kind of looks like a more natural progression of that style. Whereas, like I said, Dale got more and more detailed, and both are among my favorite artists. And I mean, Gary Frank is another artistic beast. So, Geiger, it's, I believe, Image Comics. Yep. And at this free comic book day, Godzilla, New Heroes. Longtime Godzilla fan. I guess from even just being a kid and watching the reruns of the old movies that they were playing on TV. They played Godzilla vs. King Kong, Destroy All Monsters, uh, Godzilla vs. Mecha Godzilla versus Ghidra, whatever. They always had all these great movies on, usually I think afternoons or Sundays. Uh, so normally Godzilla, I'm not that hot on the American Godzilla that they've been doing lately with King Kong. I like the Toho Productions Godzilla better. Um, yeah, so Godzilla -1 and stuff like that I've really been enjoying. I watched the other one. Because, yeah, the old King Kong vs. Godzilla was one of my favorites. Yeah, that's actually my favorite version of Godzilla. That's like Godzilla